Scan for 911. Where's your emergency? What's the
Send the
problem?
police! Send the police! The chimp killed my friend! He ripped her apart! Hurry up, please!
Who's killing your friend?
Chimp, my chimpanzee!
A woman is dead. A friend lost her face, her hands, her eyes, and the animal that did it had been living as a human being for 14 years. This is the story of Travis and the woman who loved him more than she feared him. Travis was 3 days old when Sandra Harold brought him home. 3 days. He had never known his biological mother. He had never known another chimpanzee. He had never known anything except Sandra. She bottle-fed him. She bathed him. She dressed him. She slept in the same bed with him from the very first moment of his life. Travis believed he was human, and Sandra never told him otherwise. Sandra Harold lived in Stamford, Connecticut. She and her husband Jerome owned a local towing company. They were ordinary people. In 1995, they made an extraordinary decision. They purchased a 3-day-old chimpanzee from an exotic animal dealer in Missouri and brought him home as their child. For 9 years, the three of them were a family. Then Jerome got cancer and died. After that, Travis was all Sandra had left. Travis ate at the dinner table. He used silverware. He used the toilet. He dressed himself. He had his own key to the house. He drank wine from a stemmed glass. He ate steak, lobster, ice cream. He appeared in television commercials for Coca-Cola and Old Navy. He was locally famous. Neighbors knew him. People stopped to watch him. News articles called him remarkable. Nobody talked about what was underneath. A chimpanzee is not a domesticated animal. It is an apex predator. Travis weighed 200 pounds. He had the strength of 5 adult men. And as he aged, something began to change. The agitation grew. The outbursts came more frequently. The escapes became harder to explain away. In 2009, Travis escaped from the car and grabbed tools from a stranger's vehicle. Animal control filed reports. Neighbors raised concerns. Connecticut state law prohibited keeping primates as pets. Sandra kept him anyway, because Travis was not just a pet. He was the only living thing she had left. To manage the agitation, Sandra began giving Travis Xanax, dissolved in his tea. She thought it would calm him. What she did not know, or chose not to know, was that Xanax can cause paradoxical reactions in primates. Rather than suppressing aggression, it can release it. On the morning of February 16, 2009, Sandra gave Travis his tea, with the Xanax dissolved inside it. Then she called her friend Charla Nash. Charla Nash was 55 years old, a single mother, independent, capable, the kind of person who fixed things herself. She had known Sandra for years. She had known Travis for years. She had been around him countless times before. She had no reason to be afraid. Sandra called her that afternoon because Travis was agitated, and she needed help coaxing him inside. Charla came because Sandra was her friend. That is the kind of person she was. February 16, 2009, just before 3:30 in the afternoon, Charla pulled into the driveway. Travis saw her. Something shifted. Nobody knows exactly what triggered it. Some say it was the stuffed animal toy Charla was carrying, one that belonged to Travis. Some say it was the Xanax releasing what 14 years of domestication had suppressed. Some say it was simply the moment that instinct finally remembered what it was. Travis attacked. He tore off her hands. He destroyed her face, her nose, her lips, her eyelids, both eyes. Sandra called 911 in a panic. While the call was active, while the dispatcher was still on the line, Sandra grabbed a butcher knife and stabbed Travis. He stopped, looked at her, and returned to the attack. When police arrived, Travis approached the officer's vehicle and tried to open the door. The officer shot him multiple times. Travis retreated into the house. and died in his sleeping area, the place where he had always felt safe. Paramedics arrived to find Charla Nash on the ground. They could not identify her as human from a distance. She was airlifted to Stamford Hospital, then transferred to Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. She was placed in a medically induced coma. She underwent more than 20 surgeries in the first year alone. In May 2011, she received a full face transplant, a new nose, new lips, new eyelids, new hands, all from a single donor. The surgery lasted more than 20 hours. It did not restore her vision. Charla Nash has been completely blind since February 16, 2009. Sandra Harold was never criminally charged. Charla Nash sued the state of Connecticut for $150 million. She argued that state officials had received complaints about Travis, had documented his escape incidents, had known he was being kept illegally, and had done nothing. The state claimed sovereign immunity. The court sided with the state. Charla received nothing from Connecticut. She settled with Sandra Harold's estate for an undisclosed amount, believed to be in the low millions. She will require medical care for the rest of her life. Sandra Harold died on May 14, 2010, 15 months after the attack. She never faced criminal charges. She never faced civil accountability. She died having never fully accepted that her choices had created the conditions for everything that followed. Travis was buried on the Harold property in Stamford, Connecticut. Sandra buried him there herself before she died. His grave is still there. He was 14 years old. But here's what nobody tells you about Travis. He was not a monster. He was a chimpanzee who had been stripped of everything a chimpanzee needs. No social structure, no wild space, no other chimpanzees, no natural hierarchy. For 14 years, he had been asked to suppress every instinct he had ever possessed and live as something he was never designed to be. He had no idea what he was. Sandra had seen to that. Not out of cruelty, out of love. And that is what makes this story so impossible to look away from. Because the love was real. It just was not enough. Charla Nash appeared on national television before her face transplant. She sat across from Oprah Winfrey, wearing a veil, and spoke clearly and calmly about what had happened to her. She testified before the Connecticut State Legislature, still wearing the veil, and looked lawmakers in the eye through the fabric, and told them what their inaction had cost her. She did not ask for sympathy. She asked for accountability. Connecticut gave her neither. Charla Nash is still alive. She lives with the consequences of a decision Sandra Harold made. Every single day. For 14 years. Her daughter Brenna has called her the strongest person she has ever known. She lost her hands, her face, her eyes. She came that afternoon as an act of friendship, to help a woman she trusted. With an animal she had no reason to fear. Travis trusted Sandra with his entire life. Sandra trusted Travis with her entire heart. And Charla trusted Sandra with her safety. Only one of those three people had no choice in any of it. Only one of them paid for all of it. And she is still paying. Every single day. This is Primal Bonds, where love, loyalty, and trust collapse into stories that haunt the human heart. Travis, a chimpanzee who never knew what he was. Sandra Harold, a woman who loved him more than she feared him. Charla Nash, a friend who came when she was called. If this story moved you, if it made you think differently about the bonds we form with the wild things around us, please like, share, and subscribe so that Charla's story reaches everyone who needs to hear it. Because the wild does not forget what it is. Even when we do,